This is called the show. If you didn't know, this is called the show.
Ladies.
Happy Thursday. How's everybody doing? You are listening to the show on Dash Radio Discover, and I'm excited. You know, I normally talk about myself when I first open the show, but today I'm too excited. I think I just want to dive in, and I think everyone is going to appreciate and be happy that last week, if you recall, we were talking about working out resolutions and goals that you set for the year. So I decided, you know, why not have somebody, an expert, come in and talk about all the stuff that everyone thinks of like doing for the beginning of the year, the goals that you set, you know, for your body, your mind, your soul, and all that good stuff. I'm excited because I've got JJ Flizanes in studio. Did I say that right?
You did. You did.
I kept thinking, I was looking at your name and I was like, okay, I have to say it right. I cannot mess it up. And you are a lifestyle coach, and you also have podcasts.
I do.
On fitness.
I have a fitness background. I'm a personal trainer and a whole slew of PR in that area, from magazines to television to newspapers. And it took all that, and over the last 20 years have developed it into a lifestyle brand, which includes the integration of mind, body, and soul.
I love that. I was going on this website. You know, you have an event coming up January 12th through the 14th in Los Angeles. If you guys are in the area, in LA, go to JJ Flizanes, and it's JJFlizanes.com, and it talks about the event that you have.
So on the website, actually, there'll be a pop-up. However, another way to get there very easily is to go to releasingwhatweighsyoudown.com. You can go to jjflizanes.com, that's fine, but you're not going to find the event in anything except the pop-up right now. Because it's sort of that secret, like we only have a limited room and we're half full and we're getting ready to pump it up and get everybody who's on the fence, which there are a lot, who want to come to the event. Now, if you don't live in Los Angeles, I've got people flying in from Tennessee, from North Carolina, from Oregon. So it doesn't mean, because let me tell you, this is going to be one heck of an event. It'll be something unlike anything you've ever done, I promise, or your money back. It's not something I've never done. It's the first time doing it, and the people that I have coming, because, you know, I'm really interested in true transformation. I've been a personal trainer for 20 years. I see what works. I understand the levels and layers and the depth at which we have to integrate, again, that mind-body-soul connection. It's not just about working out and logging it or tracking your food or counting calories, because those of you that have done it, you understand it doesn't last. You do it for a little while, you use your willpower, and then it works, and you lose weight, and you're like, okay. And then all of a sudden, something happens, you revert back to your old ways, and then you gain it back. And that's not what you want. You want to be able to just move into like a new way of being. But it does take a little bit different approach than what most of us are used to. And I heard your show last week talking about, you know, going to the gym and doing the resolutions. And there's a point in which we have to look at and say, am I being insane? Isn't the definition of insanity repeating the same thing over and over again, expecting different results? Yeah. If you're going to the gym every year to lose the same amount of weight that you gain every year, doing the same things every year, and it still doesn't last, we have to ask the question, what's missing, right?
Yes. Now, what about like for people, like I have a lot of listeners that listen and they're not into fitness at all. Like it's just not something that they've done their entire life, but they want to get there and they want to get healthy. They want to start losing weight. What would you suggest? What's the one thing that they should start doing that it's not going to be a goal that's so high that they're not going to be able to attain it?
So psychological terms, it's called low-hanging fruit. So rather than asking yourself, what should I do?
Yes.
Ask yourself, what will I do? And start replacing should with want. And you can even say, I want to exercise. You don't even have to say, I know I should exercise. Because first of all, I would say remove the word should from any of this conversation. Because the word should has a vibration and energy to it that's actually very controlling and gives you the idea that that you need to rebel against it, because it wants to say you should as if you have no choice. And no one ever feels good about doing something where they feel they don't have choice. So we have to remove should from the vocabulary because it's kind of abusive to yourself. It's actually shaming yourself. And when you shame yourself, that's using that negative stimulus to try to get you to do something, and it's not going to last long term. So we want to replace it with want. And what will I do? I had a client once who was living on her couch. She was very morbidly obese, old, and she's like a shut-in. She lived at home. She didn't go very far. And when I first got there, I wasn't the first trainer who had showed up. And she begged me and said, please, please do not make me eat breakfast. And I said, okay, I won't make you do anything. I said, what will, and I always came back with, well, what will you do? And she told me exactly what she would do. And it's that idea that when you work with a coach or a trainer that you're going to have no choice. You always have choice. And if you have to rebel against your coach or your trainer, you have the wrong coach or trainer. This is about making decisions based on what works for you, what's important to you, integrate it into your life, finding the blocks. So the event's called Releasing What Weighs You Down. This is not a fitness event. This is a mental, emotional, psychological, spiritual event to finding the blocks that stop you from taking care of your health. From stuff that stop you from trying new foods or trying new ways or making yourself a priority by paying for something and investing in yourself instead of giving it away and always doing it for others. Yeah. That's what this event is about. And so if somebody hasn't ever started exercising or taking care of themselves, but they want to, I would start with the question, what am I willing to do? And what is it that I want long term? Because if you don't have a plan, it's like getting in the car pre-GPS days. You have no map, you have no GPS, yet you want to get from point A to point B, but you don't know how. Well, how are you going to get there? You're just going to drive around for a while, ask questions, maybe stop a lot, maybe ask people, maybe you're good with a compass. I don't know. But imagine that, right? You have no map. How are you? It's going to be very frustrating. It's the same thing with if you've never gotten to the body and the life that you want, why do you think you know how to do that? And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that in a true, like, you've never been there before. So this would be where you want to get some help in creating a plan to get to a place you've never been before. The plan's kind of important. It's you'd never send an architect to build a structure without plans. It doesn't happen. I mean, it could happen, and I'm sure it does happen somewhere in the wilderness, somewhere in the desert. But those structures don't last very long and they're temporary. But the point being that you can really save yourself a lot of time and frustration if you sort of take a step back and ask the right questions, and then design a plan that supports you.
Now, would you also suggest as far as like eating, like they completely have to change their eating? That's part of the plan?
So imagine a straight line that has two dots on it, one on each end. And let's say on the far, in your mind, on the far left end is where you are right now. And on the far right end, maybe where someone like me may live, who has a pretty restrictive, but I don't promote restriction I promote replacement. Yeah. Because people think, I have to not eat all this stuff on what's left. And I'm big on replacement. There's nothing I miss. Everything I want I can have because I have it in a different way. I just replace it with something that's similar or the same, but made with little different ingredients on some of the places. So when it comes to your diet, I would say, just like you asked about the exercise, start with where you are and start with what you're willing to do. I'm big on elimination diets. I take people through detox programs all the time. And one of the things I ask you to do for 2 weeks, 3 weeks is to do an elimination. And part of that elimination is removing certain foods from your diet that you crave a lot, that you overeat a lot, and that your body doesn't respond to, just to see what happens. Because you'd be amazed at some of the very common foods that once you pull them out and replace them with something similar but different, you stop having cravings. You stop overeating. You stop being hungry. Not that you're never hungry, right? But just small little things. So you have to find out, again, you have to know yourself well enough to say, what am I willing to do? Am I willing to replace something for a couple of weeks to see what it does in my body? And then it's amazing what happens to people when they replace certain foods and go, wow, this was, in fact, I have somebody who's on one of my programs and she's done programs before. And she said, the way that you talk about food made it really easy. She goes, I haven't struggled at all. It's been fine. But thank you.
Okay, so what about for me? Like, I'm huge on carbs. So the one thing I like to eat a lot is tortillas, like corn tortillas. So if that's the one thing that I would say, okay, so I eat a lot of corn tortillas, what would I replace the corn tortillas with?
So there is a new company called, I think it's called Coconut Harvest, or no, it's called The Real Coconut. Yeah. The Real Coconut. She has come out with coconut tortillas. So they're coconut flour and tapioca, and she's got chips. What? There's another brand called Siete, and it's a paleo tortilla chip. There's no corn, but they act just like corn. They crumble like corn. They even taste like tortilla chips, but there's no corn. Same thing with the tortillas, she's got coconut tortillas, and they're not necessarily very low in carb. They just have no corn in them, but they roll, they bend, they act just like almost a combination of a flour or a corn tortilla. I love them. I just tried them. You can also make paleo tortillas with like egg whites and coconut flour. You can do it yourself.
Yeah.
And that works. Trader Joe's has a rice tortilla. It does not bend. It tastes good, but it doesn't. When you first pull it out of the package, it's good and it bends. But then after you have it for like a day, it starts to crumble. But again, they taste delicious. You can make a quesadilla out of them very nicely. But, corn, I would say, before you give up on your favorite food, just do an elimination for 2 to 3 weeks and see how much of an impact it makes on you. Yeah. And then if you add it back in and nothing happens and nothing miraculous happened when you gave it up and you replaced it with something else, then that food's not an issue for you.
Right. Yeah, because for me, it's just like the corn tortillas. And I used to have a sweet tooth before, like many years ago. I don't have that anymore. And it's interesting how your body just, just changes as you get older. Before I used to crave a lot of sweets. Now I kind of more like salty stuff. So now it's not so much sweet, which is better for me, I think, because I would eat like 100 M&Ms a day. Like I literally would like line them up and I would like separate them by color. And I just had to have, desserts on top of that. Now I don't have that. It's just like the corn tortillas, but I don't overeat. I just do eat. I guess if I go by what you should be, or not should,
what serves your body best,
right? I would be over exceeding it, because I'll have in one serving, I'll have like 5 corn tortillas.
Are we talking little ones? Are we talking like big ones?
No, like the regular ones.
Okay,
like they're
right, because they're like
round.
mini ones too, and the mini ones are cute.
Yeah, I had not those, or like the ones that are like this, I guess. So the regular kind. I usually have, like sometimes I'll have 5 in one serving, sometimes 3, but I like to eat them with like dinner and lunch. And I'm kind of like, I need to start I need to remove that and not have as many.
So again, it goes back to what your goal is.
Yeah.
So what would be your goal?
For me, I just want to, I don't want to lose weight. All I want to do is just like, I just want to tighten my body. That's all I want to do. Like, I don't want to lose any weight. And of course, with that comes, if I have a little gut, then I need to lose that gut, but I don't have I got to weigh, I don't want to weigh a certain type of pounds. It's just for me, just tightening up.
So then just do resistance training. Make sure you're getting in your lifting at least twice a week and do a program that actually really builds muscle, not a program that's about using light weights in every part of your body because you don't want to bulk up. If you actually do the science of resistance training and you build muscle, then you're probably fine. If weight loss isn't an issue, because first of all, losing weight doesn't mean you tighten up. Losing weight just means you lose fat, but doesn't mean your muscles are any stronger or more filled out. Like people, I think tight, lean is what people are going for. And when there's no muscle tone underneath the skin and the fat, you're just skinny, flabby. So if you want to just tighten up, then you can keep your diet as it is and just add in resistance training to make sure that you're utilizing your muscles and you're building your muscles so that you keep your metabolism high. What happens when we age, and I heard you talking about that on the show as well, and when you're so quick to want to get rid of having your period, don't be so quick to get rid of it, because what happens is your metabolism is going to plummet if you're not doing resistance training. The only thing, so think of your metabolism like a gas tank, and you think of a Ford Escort versus a Hummer, right? Which one has a bigger gas tank?
The Hummer.
Right, because it's made of more metal, it's heavier, it's bigger, it needs more energy to move it. So your body needs energy because of muscle and your nervous system. When you lose hormones, you lose muscle tissue. That's not going to, so what happens is your metabolism is going to drop, which is why most people gain weight when they go through menopause and andropause, because all of a sudden their metabolism takes a deep dive and then they do the wrong exercise. They go walking and do cardio for 5 days. That is the wrong exercise. It does not build muscle. We need to put muscle, and I'm not talking about bodybuilder muscle, so everybody get that out of your head. I'm not talking about being in a bikini and getting yourself really tan and looking like a man if you're a woman. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay? Looking lean and tight and firm, because you need muscle to move. Muscle moves bone. So to not get injured, to be able to sustain energy and vitality throughout all of your years, to not be bent over and look like you need a cane, to not have joint pain, you need to build muscle. We all do.